Hey everyone, Georgetown Soaps here. I am actually testing out some new FDA batch certified colors from BeScented, and so I thought I would just do a full video on making bath bombs. What I am doing here is I have started to add the baking soda. And as you can see, I just get the big like 13.5-pound bags of Arm & Hammer, I think is the brand, from BJ's. You can get them at Sam's, Costco. I think it's probably the best price on baking soda you'll ever find. I do run it through a sifter because I find that it can be a little bit clumpy, and if you run it through the sifter, you just save yourself a lot of time when you are mixing it. Here it looks like I'm putting the citric acid in, and I get the citric acid from BeScented, and it's super fine, and so yes, you get the big clumps that you can easily break up, but I do find it's just easier to run it through the sifter. It does save you a lot of time at the end. When you are trying to mix, you end up with just fewer clumps, and I like to hand mix, so I'm just running it through the sifter. Get it all in. I know there's a lot of people who claim you have to add the citric acid at the end, or that they grind their citric acid. I don't find with this brand of citric acid you need to grind it at all because it is super fine. Here I'm adding a little bit of cream of tartar. Cream of tartar is optional, but I do find that it really helps to get the bath bombs super rock hard. So I do recommend trying a little bit. Here I am adding in the cornstarch and Kaolin Clay. And that it's so smooth you don't need to run it through a sifter at all. There's the Kaolin Clay, pouring that in. The Kaolin Clay helps keep the bath bombs hard, so that's one ingredient you definitely don't want to miss. Something else that's optional, this is coconut milk powder. That's an option you can add. You don't have to add it. I find it does really help make the water silky and smooth. But again, that is one ingredient that's optional. I feel like that and the colloidal oatmeal, they're optional. Adding in my SLSA. SLSA helps with foam and bubbles. I don't recommend skipping SLSA just because it does help with the foam and the bubbles. Here I am, I'm throwing in some of my Epson salts. All right, and now I've got all of my dry ingredients ready to go. They're all mixed in. Now I'm gonna start measuring out my wet ingredients. I've already pre-melted the cocoa butter. I usually stick that in the microwave at the very beginning when I'm first starting to make the bath bombs, just so it melts and it's ready to go. That's the one thing that does take the most time. Here I'm measuring out the polysorbate. And there I just added some water. You can use for your liquids. You can use either water, witch hazel, or rubbing alcohol. I've started to experiment with the water. I do like it. It does cause the mixture to activate. So you'll see in a minute where I have to go a little bit slower because I'm using the water. So here I am. I'm trying to mix all of the dry ingredients, fully incorporate them. I'm checking for clumps. I don't like using a mixer. Excuse me, because I like to get a feel for the consistency using my hands, and I feel like you can't necessarily do that with the mixer. Also, I tend to make bigger batches, so in order for me to get a mixer to upgrade, I think they're like $800. So right now I'm not sure that an $800 mixer is gonna make me that much more productive, but you never know. So I like going ahead and just mixing everything in. And now there's my colorant. This is the Red 7 Lake from BeScented. This is batch certified by the FDA. So what this means is that there's only you can't use every colorant to use bath bombs if you're gonna sell them. So a lot of like the neon, the really fun mica colors that you can get from BeScented, you can't use those if you are selling, just because they're not approved for cosmetic use. Not to say that they're gonna harm you, but if you're selling, you're not allowed to use them. And so these colors are batch certified. And this is my first time using it, so I just added 1 small scoop. Just wanted to see how much color how much color it would be. You could always add more. You can't ever take it away. And with the dry colors, I like adding the color before I add any of the liquids, because I find they mix a whole lot better. You're gonna have less clumping, less spots. And so I went ahead and added 1 more scoop. I felt like the color probably wasn't deep enough. But what happens when you do add the wet ingredients, then the color really does pop, but I just felt like initially wasn't quite enough color. So now I'm fully incorporating it. Now I'm going to add and mix in my cocoa butter. You can add different oils and butters, but you do need to experiment with them. Cocoa butter is definitely a harder butter when it dries, and so this really helps keep your bath bombs hard. I've never used shea butter, but I just can't imagine. I've seen some other people use shea butter, and I just don't feel like it gets them hard because it's pretty soft butter. But you can experiment with coconut oil. Some people I see use sunflower oil. You can try different oils. I personally like the cocoa butter. I feel like it does add some moisture to the bath bomb when you're in the bath. And I feel like it helps keep it pretty hard. I live in the Washington, D.C. area, and it gets pretty humid. I do a lot of outdoor markets all throughout the year, and so when it's super humid and when it's raining, my bath bombs will hold up in the humidity. Now, I'm not going to sit there and intentionally put my bath bombs out in the pouring rain, but when it gets super, super humid, the bath bombs will hold up and they won't get soft on me. And so now I'm just fully mixing. You can see there's a little clump of probably baking soda in there. So I'm just trying to mix it all in. And again, I do like using my hands. I just feel like you can get a better feel for the texture. Although at this point, I feel like my recipe is pretty foolproof. So I have a really good feel for how wet they need to be in order to mold and then dry quickly. The key is to get them in the mold, out of the mold, and dry quickly. If you add too many wet ingredients, they may take longer. Now here I am adding some of my water with the Polysorbate. I hadn't made bath bombs in a little bit, so I probably should have just added the Polysorbate and then spritzed in the water, or added the water a little bit quickly, but it's okay. You can see that it does start to activate just a little bit on my gloves, so I'm just going really slow. Next time I've got a better idea of how I'm going to use the water. I forgot I usually do use the rubbing alcohol, but I wanted to try the water again, so I've got a better feel for how I would do the water in the future. But again, I'm just mixing, trying to go slow. You got to go slow, but not too slow, because if you go too slow, then it's going to dry out a lot quicker. And I'm just finishing up mixing. Bath bombs are pretty labor intensive. It takes a lot of work to go ahead and mix everything in. I scented these with cotton candy. This is a fabulous fragrance, I think, especially for bath bombs. Just got it in from BeScented. I can't wait to use it in soap. It does not discolor, which is fantastic because usually a lot of cotton candies will turn your finished products brown, or they'll dark tan. So I was really excited because even like if I used a regular cotton candy, it would probably turn my bath bombs brown. So super excited to try this one out because I know they're not going to turn and they'll stay this lovely shade of pink. The pink is a lot brighter in person, so I think it's just the lighting of the camera. But it's super, super bright. It's actually super pretty. And so now last step is just incorporating all of the fragrance oil. But this is one of my new favorite fragrances. Smells super good. I know the bath bombs are going to be a hit with the kids with this scent. All right, and so now I know the mixture is fully incorporated. I'm happy with the consistency of it, and we're ready to mold. And I get these stainless steel molds from BeScented. They produce a 4.5 ounce bath bomb, which I feel like is a perfect size. I feel like anything too small is probably not big enough for a bath. Anything bigger is almost too big. And so I like the price point that you can get with this size mold. And as you can see, I do like to pack them. I see a lot of people say don't pack them. I like to pack them and I twist them. So I do what a lot of people say not to do, but it works for me. You can see how smooth they come out. And with my recipe, I get about 33 4.5 ounce bath bombs with each batch that I make. I find it's the right amount of mixture. I can move quickly enough where it's not going to get too dry. And I feel like if I tried to go up a little bit more and make a bigger batch, I feel like it would dry out a little bit. So this is just a good size for me, again, to get about 33 bath bombs out of it. I usually got a little bit left over. I just throw that in a jar, and then I'll just throw that in my personal bath. But here you go. I'm going to just keep on popping these babies out. All right, and here we go. They're done. I put them on this tray that I then put in my rack, and I put them on bubble wrap because I find it helps them just kind of stay and they don't roll around much at all. What I did decide to do is go ahead and throw the bath bomb in a cup of water. I am not trying to demonstrate how well the bath bomb fizzes, foams, anything like that. I'm not doing a bath bomb demonstration. I just wanted everyone to see kind of what color it is once it's in the water, because some of the other lakes do change colors. So I just wanted everyone, and those will be in another video, but I wanted everyone to just see what color you get. And again, it's just really pretty pink. Now I wasn't paying attention. I had started to clean up, and obviously you could see my bath bomb is slowly expanding. I thought I would be smart and clean some of it up. I didn't think it would keep expanding, so I do have some overflow, which is great. Not really, but it's nice because it's slowly foaming and fizzing, and this was, you know, maybe a third of a bath bomb was all the ingredients that I had left over. And so here we go. Over the edge, more to clean up. I think at this point I'd walked away to put some dishes in the sink, and I come back and it's all exploded, but it's all good. So if you are interested in buying the colorants, it will be on the BeScented website in a day or so. Give Jen a little bit of time. I wanted to make the videos before she listed it, just so everyone could see the color. So thanks so much for watching. Have a great day.